Today on the Morning Edition, fined for the misuse of campaign funds, now facing his colleagues on the Anchorage Assembly and their discussion of how to handle the unprecedented case. We'll bring you the latest on George Martinez. Plus, a pilot caught transporting a passenger with alcohol in their baggage to a dry village in rural Alaska lost his plane and has been fighting in court ever since, saying the punishment doesn't fit the crime. We'll fill you in on the case as it heads to the Supreme Court on a national level.
And today is a first alert weather day. Fairly quiet to start off the morning, but heavy rain and gusty winds arrive as we head throughout the day.
So we're pretty dry right now, kind of the calm before what's to come. Thankfully, we have some sunshine. At least summer is going to return this weekend. But what are we looking at as far as our first alert day today?
Yeah, bigger concern continues to be the potential for some flooding as well as some gusty winds. We've got wind advisories. We've got flood watches that have been issued across South Central. Now, while most locations are waking up dry this morning, that band of rain that we did see move through late yesterday evening into the night, that is still with areas of Prince William Sound and as you head through parts of the Copper River Basin. But showers are with us early this morning for parts of South Central, but for the heart of the region, we are fairly dry. Heaviest rain does arrive late this afternoon into the overnight. We're also going to be watching some strong winds, which will once again develop later today and carry us on into our Thursday. Strongest winds will likely be into Thursday, and we've got wind advisories along the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside, as well as down through western parts of the Kenai. There's that flood watch that we've got encompassing a large portion of the valley. This is where we're going to be seeing some of the heaviest rainfall. In fact, out towards Talkeetna, we could see nearly 2 inches of rain as we head from today on through the close of Thursday. So rain this morning, again, fairly dry for many areas. We do have some residual showers on the backside of that main system, but you can see most of that is shifting off towards Prince William Sound. So your morning commute should largely be dry this morning for most locations. And rain itself largely stayed to the south as we went through the night. That's where we did see some of that heavier activity. We've got more rain as you head off towards western and southwest Alaska. That does build in as we head throughout the day on into the evening hours. We did pick up a few hundredths of an inch of rain for Anchorage. You can see higher amounts as you head out towards Portage Glacier, Cordova. Homer seeing just over 1/10 of an inch of rain. So that first round of rain that we did see late last night into this morning, not that heavier activity. That does arrive later today. And those winds have been quite gusty through the night as well, 22, 35 miles per hour. But we will be watching parts of the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside today seeing gusts up to 65. So fairly dry for the first part of the day with rain arriving into the evening. I'll have those details and time out what to expect as that 7-day for you coming up.
The Anchorage Assembly is asking a big question about what to do about member George Martinez after a state campaign finance fine. It comes down to two options. One would issue a public reprimand, while the other would initiate further investigation and removal proceedings. When these resolutions were initially proposed, the Assembly chair noted that the legal process surrounding disciplinary action like this was largely uncharted territory. To be clear, Martinez was already fined for campaign finance violations. So now the Assembly is debating what to do about his position on the legislative body. Some of Martinez's colleagues on the Assembly introduced a resolution to begin removal proceedings and investigate a trip he took to Puerto Rico on municipal funds. Martinez was attending a conference for government workers that lasted 5 days, while his trip lasted 10. This scrutiny comes after the Alaska Public Offices Commission fined him for improper use of campaign funds. Martinez paid the $5,300 fine. At the same time, several other Assembly members proposed a resolution to censure Martinez, which is essentially a public reprimand on the record, and Martinez keeps his seat.
And I'll just put this out there. One of the things that I was interested in exploring was disciplinary action other than removal, but that could go along with censure.
Because I have been in the middle of and I've watched all of the conflict this has created, all of the tension, all of the time that we are spending on this and not on our budget, not on housing, not on any other issue that we need to be dealing with.
As far as being held to account for his behavior during that hearing, there was nothing that they did on that. And I think that's where we need to take a stand of, hey, this is another member, but we need to be saying we don't approve of this. Thank you.
In the end, he was censured, but the resolution to begin removal proceedings was delayed until their meeting on August 4th. Also on the table at the Anchorage Assembly, dozens testified on an ordinance to create a community-led Anchorage Public Safety Commission. Then the Anchorage Assembly let the proposal die by lack of motion to proceed. The ordinance would have established an independent advisory and review board. Emotional public comment lasted nearly 2 hours. The hearing followed a 6-month public process last year by a public safety task force. Some supported the ordinance, others opposed it, and some felt the proposed idea for the commission wasn't the right model.
I understand that some level of oversight can be appropriate and necessary. However, asking individuals without formal training in use of force or police procedure to evaluate these incidents has failed elsewhere, and I believe it creates a serious risk here as well.
I'm not asking you to prejudge any officer or any individual case. I'm asking you to recognize that when deadly force is used, the public deserves a public safety commission that is independent.
If that's what you're going to pass, at least let's focus on victim-centered practices. My concern is that I don't think you all will.
This is the third hearing on the ordinance since May. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to review whether Alaska can take a pilot's plane as punishment if the aircraft was used to knowingly transport alcohol to dry villages across the state. This all stems from a case centered on a pilot named Kenneth Jopi. The case spent 11 years in the Alaska court system before the state Supreme Court ruled in favor of Alaska law that says any and all materials used in the process of producing or transporting bootlegged alcohol is forfeit. The constitutional question now at stake for the highest court in the land: does the punishment fit the crime? In 2012, Jopi was set to fly a passenger from Fairbanks to Beaver. That's a community that bans alcohol. Troopers found a beer in a passenger's luggage. Jopi was convicted and his Cessna aircraft forfeit. Alaska's Supreme Court ruled in 2023 the plane forfeiture was not excessive, emphasizing the harms associated with bootlegging in rural Alaska. Jopi says he is taking the fight beyond his own case.
At this point, it's not only me, but it's the whole country. There have been a lot of abuses of this excessive fines and forfeitures over the years. It was my intention to fight this thing to the very end until there was no fight left.
Jopi's attorneys say the forfeiture violates the 8th Amendment. The state maintains the punishment fits the offense. Arguments in the case are expected to start in the fall. The Alaska Native Tribal Health Consortium is set to receive a $400 million settlement from the federal government. The Justice Department says the money covers health care support costs the consortium said it was owed. ANTHC helps provide care for Alaska Native people across the state and operates parts of the Alaska Native Medical Center. The lawsuit is centered on administrative costs connected to revenue from Medicare, private insurance, and other third-party payers. The agreement follows a 2024 U.S. Supreme Court decision that clarified those costs should be paid in certain cases. Anchorage police are investigating a double homicide on East 5th Avenue. Neighbors reported gunshots just after 1 a.m. on Tuesday. When officers arrived, police say they found 2 men inside a home with gunshot wounds. Both were pronounced dead at the scene. Police say all known people connected to the case have been contacted and there's no ongoing threat to the public. The investigation into what led to the shooting continues. The victims' names will be released after next of kin are notified. She was trained to help save a life, but now a Kenai Peninsula couple is mourning the loss of Juana, their 2-year-old service dog, after they say she was hit by an ATV while her owner was dip netting.
It is probably the hardest loss I've had in my life, not only because of the emotional aspect of it. She was like our baby, and she saved my life multiple times.
The Cortezes say the crash happened after days of heavy rain while families were gathered on the beach. They say they saw young riders on ATVs and want more adult supervision and clearer safety rules during busy seasons.
And I get the need to have ATVs to transport things, but there needs to be regulations. There needs to be enforcement too.
Juana helped Daniel manage a heart condition, alerting him when something was wrong. The couple says her loss has left them grieving and forced to figure out what daily life looks like without her.
We expected to have our dog for many, many years. We expected her to be around our children when we had kids, right? Like there was these dreams and ideas. And yeah, I'd say truly cherish the times you have with your loved ones and with your furry friends, because you don't know when they're not gonna come home with you.
They hope Juana's story reminds everyone to slow down, watch for others, and keep Alaska's busy beaches safe. On Sunday morning, 19-year-old motorcyclist Aiden Cowles was killed in a collision with a bicycle near downtown Fairbanks. But his family and friends are remembering his determination and kindness towards others. From a young age, Aiden's mom, Tori, says he was interested in dance and taekwondo, pursuing both with real conviction. He faced a number of obstacles in his life, losing his father in January and two of his friends in recent years. Still, his friend and taekwondo mentor, Amanda Cheney, described him as a light, always optimistic and respectful. Tori says Aiden's full name means fiery gift from God.
And that is like the biggest, most accurate description of him. There is nothing that man did that he did not do with 120% conviction.
I think remembering him and how he was so selfless and how he cared deeply for everybody is a good, just, I think, lesson for us to take moving forward, and to be more like Aiden.
Fairbanks police are still looking for the suspect, who police say was on a bicycle and illegally crossed the highway and hit Aiden on his motorcycle. Anyone with information is asked to contact Fairbanks police. Still ahead today on the Morning Edition, the Blood Bank of Alaska is facing a shortage and is putting out the call for blood donors. We'll check in at the blood bank with Danny Tompkins when we return.
Still holding on to that rain that's building into South Central later today. We've got a first alert weather day, flooding possible, as well as some gusty winds. I'll have more on that. First at sunrise, 508 Anchorage, 429 in Juneau. Your full forecast is next.
Welcome back in on this Wednesday morning. As you can see, sky not looking great, but things are pretty calm right now. But we are first alerting you to rain and wind later today across South Central. Aaron, what can you tell us about that?
You know, typically we would not first alert you for a situation like this, but we've been dealing with exceptional rain. Flooding concerns still look possible. The Yentna River, as you head here in Anchorage, the Chester Creek, Campbell Creek, once again, could see some water rising. We've got another round of rain and winds for South Central. Rain and cooler weather also building into the interior. Temperatures will drop about 20+ degrees from the warmest conditions we saw earlier this week. And southeast also going to see a pattern shift as we head through the next couple of days. So rain with many areas of the state this morning. And like we've been holding on to, it's really the southern coastline that has been seeing most of that rainfall, but even into the interior this morning, we've got some of that persistent showers that remain with us. We've got wind advisories and flood watches in effect across a good portion of South Central. Wind advisory out towards the Bethel region as well. This is for winds gusting up to about 50 miles per hour, winds gusting up to 60 miles per hour as you head out towards Delta Junction. And then across Anchorage, most locations will see winds of about 30 to 45, if not 50 miles per hour. But the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside could see gusts up to 65 miles per hour. And those stronger winds look to arrive later this evening into tomorrow. So rain is still with us this morning. Most of that shifting off towards Prince William Sound and through eastern parts of the Kenai. As we head through the rest of today, we will see some dry time, much like yesterday. A good portion of the day will favor some dry conditions. And then as we head through the middle to the late afternoon, that heavier rain sweeps in from the west, and it's going to stay with us as we head through the night and into tomorrow. Notice the heaviest rainfall will likely occur as you head through parts of the Susitna Valley. And this is where we're going to be watching that flooding concern. As we welcome in Thursday, we'll see most of that rain shifting off towards the east, but we'll still see some lingering precipitation on the backside of that as we head through the day Thursday. Really holding on to Monday or Thursday morning being the best shot for some rain. And then as we head through the rest of the day, it's really just going to be some isolated to scattered in nature. Notice as we head into Friday, though, sunshine is set to make a return, or at least partly cloudy skies, and this is going to lead to a much nicer weekend across the region. But we've got to get through today and tomorrow, and you can see still on track for seeing upwards of 1/2 inch to nearly 2 inches of rainfall. Heaviest amounts will fall north as you head out towards Talkeetna, as well as Trapper Creek. East parts of Anchorage or eastern Anchorage could also see some of that heavier rainfall as well. But we're likely still going to see what is going to be the wettest July on record. So we got flood watches for the Susitna Valley and Hatcher Pass for that additional round of rain that's going to lead to some low-lying areas of some flooding. We've also got those high winds. Again, the Anchorage and Eagle River hillside gust up to 65 miles per hour. Lower elevations of Anchorage could see gust up to 45 miles per hour, but most of the sustained winds will stay less than 30 miles per hour. And then even along the Kenai, we'll see some gusty winds with parts of Cook Inlet down towards Kachemak Bay. Seeing some rough seas. So gusty conditions staying with us for the rest of your Wednesday. And then as we head through the overnight hours into Thursday, notice these winds beginning to bump up. So the strongest winds arrive overnight on into our Thursday. So be prepared for that. That 7-day forecast showing that rain does linger into tomorrow with a temperature sitting in the mid-60s. As we welcome in the weekend, Kristen, we've got some much needed warmer weather heading our way as temperatures top out near 70 as we welcome in the weekend.
Down the days to let sunshine this weekend, Aaron. Thank you so much. Alaska has now entered the 100 deadliest days of summer, according to the National Road Safety Foundation. They say between Memorial Day and Labor Day, drivers are more likely to be involved in a fatal car crash. The nation is in the midst of a blood shortage, and the Blood Bank of Alaska says it's feeling the strain with blood usage throughout the state going up, which is where we find Danny Tompkins with a look at what donating blood can look like, especially this time of year. Danny, what's going on over there?
Hi, Kristen. I'm here at the Blood Bank of Alaska, which hasn't opened quite yet, but we're here early and we're going to get a look behind the scenes about what goes on here. And I'm joined here with Bob Scanlon, CEO, and he's going to tell us what happens in these empty chairs around us.
Thank you very much for having me. Well, this is where we collect the blood, and we have locations like this at a number of other locations across the state. This happens to be the Anchorage location. Behind me, what you'll see are some donor beds for our automated collections, and with those beds, we are going to collect our platelets, and the platelets are very, very important for things such as clotting blood in the event of a trauma of some type. So it's a very, very important item that we provide to the hospitals. Further on into the blood bank here, we have the whole blood chairs, and this is, of course, where we collect whole blood, obviously, and this is where we collect our O negatives, O positives, and all the other different blood types that are necessary for the gift of life to be presented to the patient. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course. And we're hearing that there has been a higher usage of blood this summer. Are you able to tell us what you guys need or what impact that has on the blood bank?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, this we're between Memorial Day and Labor Day. It's typically referred to as the 100 most dangerous days of a given year because it's the summer months. Folks are outside or they're working outside on their home or in the backcountry, and so there's a higher likelihood of trauma. There's a higher likelihood of an automobile accident occurring. So there's a lot of trauma. We still have the regular surgeries that are going on, the elective surgeries. So we need more blood, just simply because of all the accidents that occur during the summer months. Now, the extra blood that we collect, that goes across the state. So once we collect it, we will process it. We will break it down into its component parts, and then those products go to the various hospitals.
Yeah, sounds like a long process, but definitely needed, especially here during this time right now. And something that surprised me was the time it takes. It looked like it only took about 5 minutes when we were here yesterday, so it doesn't take too much of your time. Kristen.
All right, thanks, Danny. The Blood Bank of Alaska says on its website that only 5% of Alaskans donate, and if you wish to donate, more information can be found on our website. Thanks for listening to our podcast. Click subscribe so you can get the latest podcasts from Alaska's news source automatically. And stay up to date with breaking news and in-depth reporting. Available for free 24/7 with the Alaska's news source app.